Welcome to Skechcraft, the podcast for art, design, and process junkies. I'm Rob Duenas, art director for Game Fan Magazine and Artist Esquire. This is an unedited podcast, which means that there is some cursing from time to time, so please be aware. Thanks for listening, and here we go. Okay. Get my drink here. All right. Sketch Rants, episode 9. Okay, now I got a little bit of a rant. And this is kind of almost semi, philosophical. So, when is good enough? What I mean by all this is, at what point when you are working on a project, is it good enough to move along? And so this sort of applies to commercial art more than art for fun, because art for fun can be done whatever the freak you want it to be done. You can take 6 to 9 weeks. I remember when I was first trying to learn some watercolor, I watched a couple videos, and there was this woman who was doing a demo about painting some pineapples or something. And she was like, yeah, at some point, I put it on my stand and I look at it for a week, and then I come back and I make changes, and I almost spit up my rock star when I heard she would look at it for a week and kind of come back, because I was like, a week? Holy shit. I don't have a day or two sometimes to look at something. 99% of the time I don't. Sometimes I have maybe a couple hours. I'll go for a walk. So at what point is good enough? Because I seem to run over deadlines sometimes, like all the time, and and I question, Rob, are you perhaps trying to be a perfectionist here? Are you perhaps attempting to take this too far? When what you ultimately need to do is make sure everyone has the work so they can get on with it and you can get paid. And I feel I take too long when I make art. People have told me for what I make, I'm pretty fast. However, very few people are asking me to make that. They're just asking me to draw, which is two separate things. They're very appreciative of what I make, and they go, "Wow, Rob, this is why we hire. Wow, this is great. This is why we hire Rob." But that's actually not why they hire me. They're just thankful that I've given them something that's pretty cool. However, I usually cause a lot of trouble with that, and part of my fucking problem with life is I grew up not being impressed by mediocrity. I was never really impressed with the way Snoopy was drawn. I was never really impressed with the way most comics were drawn. I was impressed when someone specific would draw a comic, like a Todd McFarlane or a Jim Lee or a George Perez. I was not impressed with every book. It would be one book out of 200. Frazetta would impress me as a painter, but I didn't care for Boris Vallejo or any of the other cats. I just wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in Bernard Hogarth. I wasn't interested in Andrew Loomis. I like Bridgman. That Bridgman's construction was phenomenal, but very few people would impress me. Steven Spielberg as a director, would impress me. James Cameron would impress me. I didn't care for David Lynch's and stuff, and that might be sacrilege to all you people out there, but I'm just saying that's what, as a child and as a little Rob growing up in the world, it was these unfortunately, it was like the best of the best would impress me. And that's all I've ever striven to try to be, despite my handicaps and ability. Because I'm not a gifted creative person. I just really freaking work really hard at trying to get to that level of being able to make the kind of art that would impress me. So perfectionism, can you tell the difference? Can anybody actually tell the difference? Can the buying public tell the difference between when I've put a lot of work into something and when I haven't. And I've had to test this theory recently only because of extreme deadlines when I wouldn't have the time to really render something out. Case in point, there was like 2 covers I did for Tom. One was this Devil Rave Girl, which I'm doing a podcast on in another week or so. That was extremely. It was illustrated extremely fast, and I had to use some techniques. Tom was extremely happy with the people. Oh, they love it, and I remember not, thinking, well, maybe I pushed this a little too fast. And then I had to draw the Snow Angel cover for him after that with an idea that was incredibly simple, but I just couldn't get my head around it. It just didn't look right to me. And there's some people out there that know what I'm talking about. And I spent a lot of time trying to find a way to, just kill myself over that thing. And I don't think anybody can tell the difference. I learned this in T-shirts too. There's some T-shirts where you're like, I spent 5 minutes and I spent like a day on it. And very rarely does it matter. At the end, can people tell the difference? Sometimes they can. I mean, you can tell the difference between, say, like, the Snow Angel piece and like the Enslaved piece I did. However, the subject material and stuff to me is just, sometimes it's just more interesting, or the backgrounds so there's something about it that makes it more interesting to me. But I think the average public can't really tell those minute differences. I think they tell broad strokes. They tell grander differences, like maybe if the stuff that you're drawing is more lively or colorful, or the characters appear more alive as opposed to just generic stoic things, or maybe you've contorted the body parts just a little too much, like that infamous like Rob Liefeld cover with Captain America's chest popping out of like 3 different perspectives. So I think that they can tell. But there is like a point of like diminishing returns where the only person you're trying to like compete with is yourself. And I have to really like, that's why I did this podcast, was to try and like remind myself when, hope to God I can like reason with the inner Rob, like, just stop, dude. There's a point where it's just, this is pointless. You're just fucking killing yourself for no reason. Here's the thing. So like, here's something that people can tell the difference on that I found with my own art is the commissions. When I did these $10 commissions a year ago, they were very loose, very fast, and I spent maybe 30 minutes on them, maybe 40 at the worst, but about 30 minutes to draw the whole thing. And now I'll spend about a total of 4 hours, maybe 6, on a commission that I'm charging like $60 for. So like an 11 by 17 usually takes about 4 to 6 hours to complete, from concept to rough to final pencils. People can see that difference. They know the difference between a 30-minute sketch and a 6-hour, sort of piece. However, do they know the difference between the 6-hour piece and the 16-hour fully finished version? When it's in color, yeah. When it's in black and white, if I colored that sketch, most people would. The few would. But will I let it go? That's the real question. Like, can you as an artist allow yourself to let it go? I don't know. I wish I had that answer. Like, I'm sort of like interviewing myself on that one. I've noticed sometimes you can overcolor things, or artists can overcolor things. That's another thing. Is it good enough? Sort of a separate subject to that, or a parallel subject, is I've noticed sometimes, especially recently, since digital computer coloring has really sort of come into vogue and taken on its dominance over. People don't color comics with markers and stuff anymore. It's all computer colored, so or hand colored by paints. But I will notice, because the computer can allow you to sort of infinitely render or airbrush or render stuff out, I think sometimes this art is going a little too far. It's just my personal opinion, but having worked in clothing for a long time, there's certain color schemes and certain amounts of rendering which you can put on a shirt, and there's other stuff that you just can't. Looks great in print, and my old art directors used to say that, Rob, that's like, you're doing that for print. T-shirts are a whole nother thing. And I didn't understand that for like a year or two. And it took me a long time to understand what that means. And I've sort of come back with my own coloring. Some people have said, oh, your colors are so simple. And I'm like, yeah, that's sort of like by design. I like the drawing to sort of do a lot of the work. The colors should, if you want them to pop, fine. If you want them to be muted, fine. I like to have a little canvas, a little bit of energy going on with it. But I'm not trying to render every ab muscle, every kneecap, every fold in the arm. To me, this looks creepy. And I know people like it. There's lots of famous people, making lots of money doing it. I just sort of feel, this is like where you as an artist sort of like draw a line. How far are you going to take something? I just like it to look iconic and to be three-dimensional, and that's it. Like, I move on with the coloring. So, when it's okay to push forward, here's the topic. So, when is it okay to say, you know what, this needs this? I have this idea for this thing. I know how to flip this. I know how to make it perfect. When is it okay to do that? And the answer for that is when it's a really fucking good idea. I suppose my advice would be to always do it. That would be my thing. Do it as far as whoever you're turning the artwork into, do it as far as their patience will tolerate. And the reason why I think ultimately I side on that philosophy is that at the end of the day, my name goes on it. I take the hits. I may get paid. I'm going to get paid. I'll get paid once, and I'll do some more work for them. But long term, my career will be defined off these images. Colored, finished. Not the sketches, not the process, not the pencils, the final piece. And it seems in my career, I don't get to have great, I had a colorist once who used to help me out with some stuff, but I couldn't afford to keep them around. So I don't have companies bankrolling, world famous colors to hook my shit up. I've had to learn all these things. I've had to learn how to digitally draw and digitally ink and digitally color all my stuff because no one's hooking my shit up. So now I don't need them to. I wasn't going to sit around and wait for someone to come over and save my art and help make me look good. It's like, well, fuck, if I don't get no one, fuck, I'm going to do it. And if I run myself out of fucking deadlines and whatever, to me, my philosophy has always been that the best things were always done late. Danger Girl took forever. Spawn never came out monthly. Battle Chasers took forever to even get to where it was, with the year in between one issue. All the things that I ever loved. Jaws ran over schedule. Star Wars ran over schedule. The Empire Strikes Back ran over schedule. The Return of the Jedi got done early and with less money. And look at the difference. So, the prequels never ran over budget. Never ran over schedule. So it's like I always feel that taking too long thing that some if so long as the work is good work and you're not it's not like if it was a total clusterfuck, I'd scrap the whole thing and fire myself. But I guess I will I sort of continually side on that, pushing as far as I can, because that may be the last time I get to do something. And I know that sounds weird to some of my publishers or people that I've worked with. What do you mean, Rob? We'll always keep you around, but if we get a little sooner. I'm like, yeah, you say that, but then after maybe a year of doing that, I just stopped giving a shit. Like as an artist, I think we all inherently have a lazy streak in us. I'm a very productive person, but there is an inherent lazy, slothy, eats too much, wants to sit around and do nothing kind of person in me. And I sort of if I fall into doing some of those things, I'll flip and go way crazy with it and do nothing. So I continually push and try to better the last thing I did, because that may be the thing that, again, gets me the next big job that I need. I've never been into a place and it was like, they pull in everything I did, and I guess they do when you go to an art thing, you bring in your portfolio, but man, that last thing you do, you're able to say, I just knocked this out right there, and then they go, wow, you did that yesterday, and if that isn't impressive, sometimes I don't know, it's just a, it's a philosophy of maybe this really is the last time I get to do something. I don't know. Maybe the fucking UFOs show up and that's it. That was the last thing I did. I want to be proud of it. And plus, I always, in my experience, I've sort of been always defined by the last thing I did. So the other thing is, and this is going to be kind of a shorter rant, but will I take my own advice? See, I mean, I can offer these topics up and say, hey, when is good enough? And people have asked me, what do you think about this? Is this professional? Is that professional? Again, it sort of comes back to my internal belief that you have to be able to see great art, and I think you sort of need to have the maturity and the wisdom to know when to let go. And I'm just not that mature yet. Yeah, that's a quote. Will I take my own advice? Probably yes and no. I mean, for as long as I take, believe me when I say I could have took it a lot further. I could have really blown this way out of proportion. So I may have been late, but that chances are I cut something out. I remember that Critters piece I did. People go, wow, it's a lot of characters on there. And I ran that right up to the last 10 minutes before they shipped that magazine. And that layout I cut in half to get it out on time. And I limited the amount of base colors I chose and the amount of rendering. And I picked a neutral colored background. So as far as I ran it, and for as much trouble as it was for everybody, it could have, it got done. So, I've never, I think only one time can I remember completely failing to turn something in. And we will not talk about monstroids today. We will not talk about monstroids today. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. Talk to you later. Bye.